like to call the regular meeting of the September 13th City of Post Falls Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball. Gosh, we got so excited about International Chocolate Day, I forgot what I was saying. All right. Regular meeting is rolling. We'll start off with roll call.
Hamby.
Here.
Schlauhauer.
Here.
Ward.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Kimball.
Present.
Carey.
Here.
Stephenson.
Here.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Ceremonies, announcements, appointments, and presentation.
Well, it's International Chocolate Day, so that's why those little sweet treats are up there with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any history of?
No, I'm not. I think it speaks for
It
itself.
does. Yeah.
It kind of just, we
What a
know what
disappointment.
chocolate's about.
It's the day that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
So,
A
yeah.
little letdown.
Nice. Do we have any amendments to the agenda this evening?
There's none.
Commissioners, any declaration of conflict, ex parte contacts, or site visits?
No.
Sir.
Okay, seeing none, then we will move to the consent calendar.
So I just wanted to do a brief reiteration that consent calendar items, even if you weren't here for the hearing, you can still approve the minutes. You can still approve the items that are on the consent calendar, even if you weren't at that particular hearing, as long as you've reviewed them in the packet.
I think that's for me.
All right.
Okay, so on that, action item A is the meeting minutes from July 25th this year. Action item B is the meeting minutes from August 9th. Action item C is the zoning recommendation of the Froelich zone change, file number ZC225. And action item number D is the zoning recommendation for the Hargrave Hathaway annexation, file number ANNX228.
Move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call for a vote.
Stephenson.
Yes.
Carey.
Yes.
Kimball.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Schlauhauer.
Yes.
Hamby.
Yes.
I'm not used to saying all of your guys' names.
Right. It's a rare occasion that the whole family gets together. Citizen issues. This section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the commission on an issue that is not on the agenda. Persons wishing to speak will have 5 minutes. Comments related to pending public hearings, including decisions that may be appealed to the city council, are out of order and should be held for that public hearing. Do we have anyone here for citizen issues? Seeing none, then we will move on to unfinished old business. There is none.
Correct?
So we'll go into the public hearing and get things rolling and start off with our one and only zoning recommendation.
Scared me.
Good evening, Commissioners. Ethan Porter, planner with the City of Post Falls. I'm here to present the Gabourie annexation, case file ANNX-22-9. The owner and applicant are the same, Fred Gabourie, who is the property owner, and he is requesting to annex and request the zoning designation of single-family residential R1 on his approximately 0.3 acres into the City of Post Falls. Here you can see the lot that we're looking at hatched in red. It's west of Greens Ferry Road there, running north and south, and then right along Rod Key Drive on the south of it. And so he is abutting the Spokane River shoreline as well. Looking at the land use, it's a single-family home already developed on site. The physical characteristics or natural features of this area is over the Ratcham Prairie Aquifer. And then he's also, like I mentioned, north of Spokane River, so he has property adjacent to that river. The water and wastewater would both be provided by the City of Post Falls. And there is a consent to annexation agreement that I believe was in your staff report that you saw, so hopefully you reviewed that. And Looking at the zoning, we do see that this is surrounded by R1, a single-family home within R1 subdivision, so it's there hatched in red. Again, there's only like 3 other lots down there, including Fred's, that aren't annexed in. So one of the reasons why we are seeing this tonight is that the septic system did fail, which then requires city hookup, and then city hookup then requires annexation into the city. So I'm sure Fred will cover that as well when he gets up to talk on the applicant side. Looking at the future land use designation, it is a transitional zoning, which basically refers to kind of more along the lines of the focus area for this location. Kind of reverts to that. So looking at the comprehensive plan at the focus area, this is within the Milltown South focus area. A lot of words there. A lot of it just gives the background, kind of what we see, future development, supporting development. Since this site is a single-family home already developed out as a single-family home, there's not much development to incur except maybe future tenant improvements on the house itself. But one of the points there, that first bullet point says, seek creative methodologies to enhance neighborhood areas and spur reinvestment. So through tenant improvements, being in the city, that's a plus for this site. So looking at some of the review criteria for B, we look at the amendments to the zoning map being in accordance with the goals and policies found in Post Falls Comprehensive Plan. We've seen these goals before. I'm going to highlight number 8 there is protect and maintain Post Falls' natural resources, including clean air, soils, river, and aquifer, and minimizing light and noise pollution citywide. I think this is an important one since its location and proximity to the Spokane River, since it is adjacent to it. And I know septic systems aren't the greatest thing next to those kind of watersheds, so looking at this being on city sewer would help and kind of protect those resources. Looking further at policies, we have policy 2 about zoning designations being applied with careful considerations of factors including the future land use mapping, compatibility with surrounding land uses, the infrastructure service plans, existing and future traffic patterns, and then goals and policies, which we're covering now. A lot of this has been kind of discussed, and since it's already built out, not a lot of it's getting affected through this annexation. So since it's already a single-family home, it's already developed, it is what it is. So a lot of these are already taken care of as far as the infrastructure service plans. Looking at policy 9, we encourage annexation of county islands within the city with priority given to these areas, and I think the first 2 bullets cover that. It's surrounded by incorporated areas, and they have ready available service infrastructure and capacity. The 3rd bullet really doesn't apply with this since it's not near or within an urban core. And so I'll cover that a little bit later in a slide later in this presentation. We're looking at review criteria C. We look at the zoning as assigned following considerations of such items as listed there, which a lot of them have already been mentioned, street classifications, traffic patterns, future land uses, community plans, geographic natural features. And just to reiterate, it's within proximity of the Spokane River. It is over the Rathdrum Prairie Aquifer. So, review criteria D discusses commercial and high-density residential, which this is not a request for, so this review criteria isn't really applicable to this proposal. We look at review criteria E, which is limited or neighborhood commercial and lower density residential zoning, which this is a request for the R1 zoning. We can see the higher intense urban activity map there. We look along Spokane, sections of Spokane Street, Highway 41, and Mullen. And so this is further south of that. As you can see right next to the river, there's no urban core there that's established. A lot of it's just single-family subdivisions nearby, so nothing too intense for commercial uses. And then review criteria F discusses industrial zoning, which this is a request for, so this is not an applicable review criteria in this one. The agencies that this was routed to is listed there, and of these we actually had quite a bit come back or listed. So Post Falls Police remains neutral. The Kootenai County Fire and Rescue reserves comments for any permitting process that may take place, tenant improvements and such. And then Post Falls Highway District did say that they are in support of the annexation, and then the pipeline company, they had no comments or concerns, and then Post Falls School District remained neutral through that. So all that you can see as well in your staff report. It's all exhibited out in there. So with that being said, I can take any questions or anything you have for staff at this point in time.
Can you
Question?
put the map back up, just so I can see, like, I couldn't exactly see where those boundaries were. That's all I'm looking for, and it's not,
Gotcha. Oops.
yeah, that one. Where are the existing? I'm having, it says the city boundary is the dark black line, but I'm
Correct.
having a hard time.
So then you have the Spokane River shoreline running just basically south of all these. And so
So
the
those are all
boundary-
annexed?
Correct. All the yellow is annexed, and then this sliver here is the one we're talking about.
Okay,
And then there's this piece of property here that is also not annexed in,
Okay.
as well as this one here. So there's basically
Okay.
3 there and just one of
Okay.
them's coming.
okay, I gotcha. I can
Yep.
see where you're at there now. Sorry about that, Ray, if you were gonna ask, I thought somebody else was gonna ask a question.
Any other questions for staff?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Invite the applicant up. I said, we'll invite the applicant up. Come on up. You can. Yes, sir. I'll just have you state your name and address.
The name is Fred Gabourie, address 1904 East Rodkey Drive, Post Falls 83854. Been there since 1978, so I'm a resident for 44 years, better than most people in this town. But when I moved there, Rodkey subdivision was created in 1956 by Mr. Rodkey. There was only 5 houses when I moved there. 5 neighbors out of 15 lots or so. Across the street, Schneidmiller owned a bluegrass field, 26 acres, which is now Sundance Meadows. So when I moved there, everything was county, probably up to Plaza Drive. I think's when they started developing that subdivision up there. Everything to the south of that was county, including all of us down the river. We were all on septics. That's what you did at the time. There was no city services or anything. We always knew, in consulting with the city over the years, that when you fail, then you annex into the city, because Panhandle Health District basically didn't want any septic on the river, and I understand that totally. So the clock's been ticking all this time for 44 years. I didn't even know one neighbor still in the county down the road from me, 2 over to the east. I thought her and I were the last 2, but I guess we're the last 3, soon to be last 2. And they're probably gonna have to follow what I'm doing sooner or later. One thing I can say is that we were a single-family residential neighborhood all this time, and Sundance Meadows, everything around us is R1. So when I came down, and not being familiar with anything, I just want to express to you that your people in the front office are very helpful. And they were very helpful and tried to scoot us along. There's a lot of paperwork involved and people you got to contact and this and that. Your engineers were good. They were on time. My contractors worked well with them so that there was no delays. And that's all I got to say is that the city's been ideal. I mean, it couldn't have been easier, really, except just do the work. But even like this lady on the far end helping out, because there's a lot of forms. You guys ought to look into that. There's a ton of stuff to learn, you know. Anyway, I hope you let us annex in. If not, we're hooked up to the sewer already.
I was going to ask, you're already hooked
Guys
up.
decide what you want to do.
Oh, that's funny. Excellent. Any questions, Commissioners? Excellent. No, thank
Might
you
as well
very
have the
much.
money too, then.
Yeah.
One comment is I've known every mayor and most of your councilmen and this, and I think most of them thought I was in the city. I mean, it never came up.
Right.
But in 44 years, we've never been able to vote for the mayor or the city council or anything to do with Post Falls. So that's kind of I like it.
Yeah, very, very cool.
What the heck?
That's a good step.
You know, we were disenfranchised.
Right, right.
With a view.
Appreciate it, and I hope you make us a good recommendation, and we'll just mind our own business like we've been doing for 44 years.
Thank you, sir, appreciate it. I'm guessing we have no public comment whatsoever, okay? Commissioners, any questions?
No.
Let's run through our discussion real quick. There's only 4 of them. Number 1, amendments to the zoning map should be in accordance with the comprehensive plan, future land use map. I think
Yeah.
we see that.
Yep.
Any
Yes,
further
it's
comment or
obvious.
questions or concerns?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Number 2, amendments to the zoning map should be in accordance with the goals and the policies found in the Post Falls Comprehensive Plan.
Yeah.
It's infill, it's all, it matches the zoning requirements, it matches the goals and policies. And probably one of the most important ones is to get a septic system
Off the river.
off the area over the aquifer. And that's a very good thing.
Excellent. Number 3, zoning is assigned following, with the following considerations, such items as street classification, traffic patterns, existing development, future land use, community plans, and geographic or natural features.
I think the R1 matches with traffic patterns being a residential street. Its existing development is R1 all the way around it. Future land uses are called out as single-family resident or a residential, low-density residential land use and land use map. And everything, including geographic and natural features, indicate that it should be
R1?
R1
Yeah.
and annexed into the city as such.
Okay. Number 4 we'll skip because it does not apply. Number 5, limited or neighborhood commercial lower density residential zoning is typically assigned for properties as they proceed further away from the higher intensity urban activities, ensuring that adequate land is available for future housing needs. I think it's pretty cut and dry. We see where that's at.
Yeah, I think it's about 3/4 of a mile away from Celtice Way.
Yep.
Can't get any farther without going in the water.
This is true. And number 6 is not applicable as well. So those are the 4 criteria. Commissioners, anything for the good of the order? Any comments, thoughts, questions, or concerns?
No.
Nope. None.
Okay, then I guess at this point we look for a motion.
I would move to recommend approval of Gabourie Annexation, file number ANNX-22-9, finding that it meets the approval criteria in the Post Falls Municipal Code and as outlined in our deliberations, and direct staff to prepare a reasoned decision with a zoning recommendation of R1.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for a vote.
Hampi,
Yes.
Schlauer,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Kimball,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Stephenson.
Yes.
Ethan, such a smooth presentation. I mean, like butter.
That might be your best one yet.
Administrative and staff reports.
None.
Commissioner comments? Anything additional to add?
Thank you for the short meeting.
Yes,
Yeah, that was nice.
yes, absolutely.
Balance is great.
If there is nothing else, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.